Liesel?
Hi.
Hi.
Um, um, I wanted to ask on this mm, this seeing that is not yet seen or doesn't seem to yet be seen. Um, I really do see clearly that I'm awareness, and I really do see clearly that there was never a journey to become awareness, that like that's actually always what was going on. And again, it lended itself to this thought, that okay, as I'm now trying to see more clearly that form is formlessness, and trying to um, you know realize that is my experience. I'm working with that inquiry. Is it and variations of it, is it true that I'm not already experiencing form as formlessness?
Mhm.
And because it feels like, oh yeah, I must be, like there's a lot real logic to it, like I must be experiencing form as formlessness. Yet it doesn't seem it doesn't seem that way in the actual experience. So,
What would it look like though, if you've come to deeply realize that form and formless are the same thing, awareness and what we're aware of being the same thing? What would that actually, how would you experience that? How would you know? What
well,
signs could we look for?
I guess it's what I hear from you in terms of, that you experience, things like fear or, you know, um, pain in the body, etc. You experience it as emptiness. And so, for instance, I recently there was a big trigger for some of the old OCD patterning that came up, and um, I there was a lot of remembrance of being awareness while all this is, coursing through the body and the mind and everything, but it was still experienced as, you know as anxiety, as difficult thoughts, etc. It was not experienced as formlessness, or at least did
There,
not seem to be so.
was there peace at the same time?
I don't know if I would say peace. There was awareness.
Mhm.
I feel like there's always the fundamental awareness, but I feel like some of the qualities like peace and joy and bliss, those are transitory, those come and go. And
The fullest knowing that form and formless are the same would be an absolute unwillingness to try to do anything with any form at all. And fear would still feel like fear, but there would be no resistance to it at all. It would be a non-event in the mind, right? It wouldn't be, oh, why is this happening? I have to get rid of it. Why has it come back? All the stuff around it. The perception of forms can only happen with a form, right? Only when you have a body can you see and perceive forms, a physical body. Before that, awareness sees only itself, right? Already, as you were saying. Awareness is not getting triggered or is also not trying to get back to equanimity. It never leaves equanimity.
right.
It's already seeing forms as itself.
I, I do kind of I do recognize that, like, I recognize that the fear is is just it's there in awareness. I recognize the resistance is just there in awareness. Everything is just there in awareness. I'm just it just seems like on a bodily level that you're describing that for you in the body, those forms show up as bliss and peace in the body. And that is not, doesn't seem to be the case, at least.
So making a stand here as awareness that
Mhm.
cannot see forms, does not see forms, and respecting that the body is a vibration, it's appearing as a vibration. Therefore, any vibration that moves through the body will seem to change its state. So fear or whatever. Um, but that has nothing, it's not affecting awareness, right? Awareness knows the emptiness of that form, no matter what it feels like in the body. Not necessarily expecting the feeling in the body to change. So from awareness, as awareness, there's nothing we really want to do with this fear at all. And that's when it really shifts then. It changes its frequency. But not because we need it to or we're looking for some sign. This question, I'm already recognizing form as formless. Yes, because you are awareness already, right?
Mhm.
And that would manifest as a total equanimity to all forms, both what the mind would label pleasant, unpleasant, horrible, or beautiful. It's just the same to awareness, whether it's bliss or fear. And that's just a name for a vibration anyway, isn't it? Bliss and fear, a certain frequency. So, what do forms look like already from awareness? Empty. Forms will always feel like forms in the body. You see what I'm going with this? So,
Okay. I guess it's that one of the things that I've recognized too is that I don't need to not have resistance to make things work, in that what you have to do is recognize that the resistance is just happening again
and it's
in
also
awareness.
completely insubstantial resistance. It's made of formless awareness.
But if awareness were to take an inventory of the forms that are showing up, you know, resistance and these challenging emotions are showing up, and maybe I can recognize that if there's judgment or all of those things around them, that that's again just a form showing up in awareness. But there doesn't seem to be this, there doesn't seem to be anything in those difficult times, there doesn't seem to be anything more to anchor to other than awareness itself. There doesn't
Oh,
seem to
there
be.
is. What else could you anchor to? And who would anchor?
Maybe I am under a false impression that, like, I feel like what you describe your experience is almost a deeper anchoring, where there's not just awareness at all times, but there's like this felt peace, bliss, etc.
Because from awareness, let's say the mind is going crazy, right? Loads of thoughts and lots of strong negative emotion in the body. The mind would say that's a real happening and it really needs to change. Awareness would just say it's a total non-event. There's nothing to report. From awareness's perspective, it's just making all of these shapes. Nothing's actually occurring in that. It isn't a denial then of what the body's feeling. It's a total allowing of whatever's going on because it's really all the awareness. It's the total embracing of it all. So what would awareness, if it took an inventory, it would just write nothing down at all on the sheet. Even if the mind's going crazy and the body's just flooded with negative emotion, contractions and all that stuff going on, real big strong trigger. From the perspective of awareness, nothing to report. Total non-event.
Okay.
From there, things really do tend to shift in their frequency anyway. So you get to decide in any moment, what am I going to look as? Am I going to look at this as awareness or as a form? Of course, ultimately they're the same thing, but the mind is sure there's a big happening. What would awareness say?
I'm not entirely sure.
Have a play with it and explore. And there was some of the strangest times of my whole life, my whole awakening was when this huge had been triggered inside, and it was just a total non-event. It just raged for as long as it raged, and then it burnt itself out. Afterwards, there was no analysis, no post-mortem. Why did that happen? During it, it was just, okay, this is what I'm showing up as in this moment. And there was no thinking about it afterwards. It was just a total non-event. Didn't register as anything that needed to be looked at or dealt with or transcended or anything. It was just like, look at the interesting shapes I'm making today. That was it, literally. Even that is a little bit too much to say. How does awareness be with anything? It's really kind of to dive in there. And this is the already so-ness that you were pointing to with your question. Awareness sees only itself. There's nothing there to report back.
So when in my current, wherever you want to call it, if I'm seeing that, you know, awareness is aware of all of these shapes and things like that, really what I'm getting from what you're saying is that an implication that there's still like a little mind involved.
Yeah, yeah. Mine says, I'm going to see everything as awareness so the trigger stops happening. But awareness says nothing happened. And then the trigger doesn't happen again. We're
Okay.
making it an event, right? So it has to, when is this going to stop happening? Awareness says, I don't know what you're talking about. But again, it's not a denial from that. It's not just a suppression. I'm not going to look at this. It's everything is made out of me. I'm spinning all these shapes, the whole universe out of myself, like a spider spinning a web. Why should I be bothered about a few shapes that we would have called fear or thoughts or contraction, you know? From there, all you have is equanimity, treating all forms equally. And then they tend to show up as the ones you like then.
Okay.
What would
But is there
awareness?
even such a thing as liking at that
Nope,
point?
not really. It's all the same. Some feel nicer in the body, some not so nice, but all treated the same, right? Because they are the same without the labels and stuff. It's up to you to decide whether something happened or not.
Okay.
Mm,
Thank you.
thank you.